We have in this week's Seder Parshas Naso Pirkes Kahanim. And the last of the brachas is Yisa Hashem ponev elecha v'choneka. That Hashem is going to turn his face to us, to show us favor, to give us his chen. And yet the Gemara in Brachas tells us something quite different. Says the Gemara, Omru Malach Yasharas of the HaKadosh Baruch. The ministering angels in heaven said to the Ribono Shel Olam, Ribono Shel Olam, Kosev b'sar Asecha, it says in your Torah, Asher Yisafoni v'likach shoichet. The Pasuk tells us by Yischanam that the Ribono Shel Olam does not accept any bribery. He doesn't turn his face. It's straight, unadulterated din, judgment. Well, Yisrael. And you, Hashem, you are showing favor to Klal Yisrael. Diksiv. Yisra Hashem ponev elecha v'choneka. Like it says this week's Sedra. It's a stira, an outright contradiction. How did Ribono Shel Olam answer the kasha of the Malach? Omer lahem. So he said to them, Ki liyusa ponev Yisrael, and I shouldn't show favor to them? Shekasavti lem b'Torah, I wrote in the Torah, v'achalta v'savatu v'rachles Hashem Elokecha, that you'll eat, you'll be satisfied, and you'll bless. So you see that the prerequisite for making the bracha, for benching, make the bracha achron is severe, is satisfaction. And they are so precise with themselves. Akazai had kebeya. Machlekes, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, whether it takes a kazayas to make the bracha, or whether it takes a kebeya, but nonetheless it's not severe. So you see that what Klal Yisrael does for me, and I do for them. What is this? A business arrangement? That makes the shaychet okay? The fact that Klal Yisrael is doing for the Ribono Shel Olam, that's a shaychet, so to speak, for them, and the Ribono Shel Olam pays them back? The Ribono Shel Olam works this way? But the Avos Esim asks another kasha. His kasha is, if the requirement of the Torah is severe, is satisfaction, and Klal Yisrael is medakal atzman to eat, to make the bracha, when it's a kazayas or kebeya, it's insufficient to make the bracha. L'chor, it's a bracha shenitzrich. It's like a bracha levatala. What's the shvach? What's the praise for Klal Yisrael that they're medakal atzman? They're chas v'shalom. They're using l'sis Hashem l'kech l'shav. They're using Hashem's name in vain. Says the Avos Esim based on a Zohar, the Klal Yisrael considers the kazayas, the kebeya, as if it's satisfaction in their mind, like the pasuk says in Tehillim. Their rotzain is, their desire is that it should be a svia, that it should be a satisfaction. So as far as they're concerned, there's a svia. What have they done? They've gone out of their way for the Ribono Shel Olam. Even though perhaps their stomachs are not satiated, but their mind trains their stomachs to feel that they are satiated, so they can make a bracha. It's like the mice with the Rebbe and the Chassid. The Rebbe picks up the apple and he says, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Bari priya eitz, and he eats the apple. The Chassid sees the Rebbe with such intent, such kavona, such islavus, and he picks the apple up and another apple up himself. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Bari priya eitz, and he eats the apple, and he says to the Rebbe, what's the chilik? What's the difference between your bracha and mine? The Rebbe says, you make the bracha to eat the apple. I eat the apple so I can make a bracha. Klal Yisrael wants to make a bracha. They want to make a bracha so bad to Ribono Shel Olam, they're not willing to wait this field. They will consider it as if they're soveya, as if they're satisfied, so they can have the schus to connect to Ribono Shel Olam. Says the Ribono Shel Olam, the Malach Yasharis, if they're willing to come to me like that, they're willing to extend themselves to me, I shouldn't do the same for them. This is not about din. This is about a relationship. This is about a connection. And this Gemara tells us a very important secret. The secret is that when we extend ourselves to Ribono Shel Olam, Ribono Shel Olam responds. He responds to us. He's waiting for us to come to him so he can come more to us. We all know we're in a very difficult time right now. We have young Jewish boys sitting on the border of Gaza, flying planes, dropping bombs. We don't know exactly what the future will be. Will it be a ceasefire? Won't it be a ceasefire? What does a ceasefire mean anyway? We have cities that have been rocked in Klal Yisrael with rockets. We have cities that have riots. We have demonstrations going on in Europe and the United States. What's going to be? How are we going to make a schus for Klal Yisrael? But more than that, what can we do more than say Tehillim, more than daven? And the Gemara in Makos tells us what? The Gemara over there brings the pasuk in Tehillim. Omdos hayer ragleinu b'sharich Yerushalayim. David Melech says that our feet stood in the gates of Jerusalem. Migorm l'ragleinu sheyamdim le'ochama. What does that mean? Who gave our feet the strength, the koyach, to win the war? Sharei Yerushalayim. The gates of Jerusalem, Sharei oiskim b'Torah, that they're involved in Torah. Says David Melech, those soldiers sitting on the front line are not by themselves. It's Am Echad. We're all one. They're sitting with their guns, and we're sitting with our Gemaras. Our learning, our davening, our mitzvahs, is investing them with the strength and the source that they should be matzliach. So we should know that as we sit down to learn, and we get ready to do a mitzvah, we should have in our mind that we're giving koyach to the soldiers. But the Gemara in Brachas tells us even more. It's not just the schus of our learning, not just the schus of our tefillah, but when we extend ourselves, when we go ad kebei, ad kezayis, when we consider that like svia because we want to make a bracha, we do that in our own lives. We find something in our life to extend ourselves more than we were doing yesterday. The Rebbeinu Shalom is waiting to respond in kind. Be'ez Hashem, we shall siyat d'shmaya. Each one of us to find his own avodah, and Be'ez Hashem, that avodah should be a schus. The Klai Yisrael should have shalom. Rebbeinu should bring Mashiach tzidkeinu b'meir of you.